Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final day of Digital Open Days by POLI.design. I'm Sofia D'Alessandro from the International Affairs Office in POLI.design, which is a society founded by Politecnico di Milano. During our Digital Open Days, we had the chance to present to you our specializing masters and executive courses, and the next presentation is going to be focusing on design for food master. We have the pleasure to be here with Professor Barbara Parini, who is the didactic coordinator of the master and will give you a detailed overview of the program. Before starting, I just would like to remind you that at the end of the presentation, there will be a Q&A session, which is your occasion to ask anything that might come up to your mind. So just feel free to type your questions in the chat box. Thank you and enjoy.
Welcome to everybody. I'm Barbara Parini. I support the Master Board in organizing and developing the program of Design for Food, and I'm in charge of coordinating the teaching activities. Today, our director, Stefano Maffei, is abroad, so it's a pleasure for me to be here to present to you the Design for Food program, which is going to start in January 2024. Why we are talking about design for food? Let's start by saying that huge changes, general complexity, and emerging challenges characterize our contemporary world. Think, for example, climate change, energy issue, waste management, demography increase, and technological innovation. All of these are general challenges which obviously also influence the contemporary food sector, or better to say, the contemporary food system. In this slide, you can see what I mean when I say food system. A complex system includes all the elements and the activities related to producing, transforming, and consuming food, and their economic, health, and environmental effects. All these emerging challenges involve a new experience, new behaviors, but also new products. So the question is, how can we face these emerging challenges? We think that this multiplicity needs a different approach, a multi-scale and multi-layer approach. In one word, we need a design approach. Through design, in fact, we can perform from micro to the macro scale, from tangible to intangible dimension. Design talks about products, but also services, experience, and interaction, with a focus on social changing, technological innovation, and environmental transformation. So the design approach can support us, but it's not enough. For this reason, in this project, POLI.design is not alone. The Master in Design for Food is the result of a collaboration between POLI.design and the University of Gastronomic Science in Pollenzo. It's not a really new collaboration because we are going to move to the third edition, but in comparison to other masters, for sure, we are a young master. We decided to combine our experience with the knowledge of another super qualified partner because, as I said before, food systems are complex systems, and we think it is necessary a transversal expertise. You probably know that Politecnico di Milano is characterized by three main educational areas: design, engineering, and architecture. And thanks to the collaboration with Pollenzo, we can mix design and technological skills with specific skills on the food sector. Pollenzo, in fact, is focused on and totally dedicated to food. The word gastronomic science was coined in Pollenzo, in Piedmont, in 2004. And for the University of gastronomic science is a perspective that looks at food for a systemic and an holistic point of view. The course mixes different experiences and competencies, and you can find this merging also in our faculty, starting from the master board and the advisory board. Very, very quickly, our Director is Professor Stefano Maffei, full professor. He is a co-director of the Service Design Master in POLI.design and also director of Poli Factory, the Fab Lab and Makerspace in Politecnico. With Stefano, the Master Board is composed by Professor Francesco Bombardi and Professor Franco Fassio. Francesco Bombardi is visiting professor at University of Modena and Reggio Emilia, where he teaches industrial design at the engineering faculty, and Franco Fassio is professor in Pollenzo, and he is systemic designer. Professor Bombardi is mainly in charge of workshop activities, while Professor Fassio teaches systemic design for circular economy to introduce the systemic approach. The master board is supported by an advisory board to define the guidelines of the program. The advisory board is composed by Professors Anna Meroni, Nicola Perullo, Giulia Menichetti, and Fabio Parasecoli. Anna Meroni is full professor of design and deputy dean at the School of Design. Nicola Perullo is a philosopher and professor in Pollenzo. Giulia Menichetti and Fabio Parasecoli work in the USA. Giulia in Boston and Fabio Parasecoli in New York. The rest of the faculty consists of 2/3 academics and 1/3 of professionals, and you can find more details about the faculty on the website downloading our PDF brochure. Our goals in short. The aim of the program is to train new experts and new professionals able to face the contemporary food systems thanks to transversal skills and a strategic way of thinking. I remember that this is a specializing master, so through this program, each student can, depending on their educational background, complete or improve their professional profile. Here are some of the primary skills you will achieve at the end of the program, but very in short, you will be highly competent in approaching complex food systems, analyzing them from different perspectives. Even if you have no previous design training, you can acquire a designer's approach, a design vision, which give you an overview of the process to find and develop a new solution. Let's quickly move on the course structure. Our students have a very different backgrounds. This high diversity is a challenge for us, but in my opinion is the richness of this course. Because the class is heterogeneous, the structure of the course is set up with previous part more theoretical to bring everyone up to speed, and the second part more focused on design and project. The first part is from January to the end of March, more or less, and the second part from April to the beginning of July. The aim of the first part is to give you a framework, while the second one is more focused on design, project, and on activities. As you see on the scheme, the second part is characterized by 3 workshops and 2 study trips, which are 2 core activities of this program, and I will back soon on that. After the end of the teaching activities, you have to attend a mandatory internship. Remember that the internship is not a work, is not a job. It is part of your educational program, and it will complete your training path. The internship is about 500 hours, more or less 3 months full time. You can start from the middle of July, but sometimes the companies or the students prefer to start in September. Probably you know that, for example, in Italy, August is an holiday month. The starting point for us for the internship is an online survey, which we ask you to fill between February and March. It is helpful for us to get some indication about your aims and about your skill. For example, if you want to stay in Italy or if you want to get an internship abroad, if you know Italian language. Note, if you want to have an internship in Italy, it's not mandatory, but it's better to have a basic Italian knowledge. And before starting the program, POLI.design can give you direction for an Italian course. It's not mandatory, it's an extra, but I suggest you to consider that. After the survey, the talent development area of POLI.design with the master board support the students during the search of the internship. And after the internship, you will have the final exam. The final exam will be between March and April 2025 to give everyone the opportunity to complete their internship, because as I told you, some students start in September or October. Each student must prepare a final thesis about his or her internship experience. The master board gives you some guidelines to prepare the final thesis, and the examination will be a presentation of your thesis and not an interview, not an oral test, but a conversation with the board about your experience during the program. If you cannot be in Italy during the exam, you can attend the final exam online. This is a summary visualization of our program, and you can see the three main educational areas. The yellow one, gastronomic science and humanities, contains classes focusing on the relationship between culture and food and its technical and sensory aspects. For example, semiotics of food, food and taste science, sensory analysis. The pink one represents lessons more design-oriented, for example, food product design, food packaging design, food service design. The green one represents lessons focused on the management and process of the food system, for example, food logistics, technologies for food industry, or food business innovation. Here you see the classes in sequence, but of course within the program they are mixes. Each module generally takes 3 days. If you want to know more about each module, I suggest you follow our Instagram channel. I will give you direction at the end. On Instagram, you can find pictures, details, information about each module. Of course, this is a visualization of the current edition, and every year we improve the program. So this is a general layout, and if you will students of the next year, I hope, you could find some small changes, but very, very small. As I said, the first part is more theoretical part, and the second one more focused on design. But we try to have the same teaching approach in every lesson and for each topic, mixing theory and practice. So you could have traditional classes mixed with hands-on activity, group exercise, short projects. The aim is to make teaching more interactive, giving you the possibility to share your ideas and your competencies with your classmates and with professors. And if you already know some topics, you will have the opportunity to approach it in a new way, because each professor gives you their vision. I show you some pics to better understand the atmosphere inside the classroom. For example, in design area, we have food branding and narrative modules with Professor Silvia Barbieri. The module proposes a reflection on branding and communication in the food system through practical exercise. It's the same for the food service design with Beatrice Billari. The module proposes an introduction on service design applied to food system and some practical activities using service design tools. And we have also food product design with, for example, with Professor Massimo Barbierato that propose before the design activity an analysis on real food to understand the characteristic of the material. Then we move to the gastronomic science and humanities area with the module of Professor Perullo, food aesthetic and communication, focus on the aesthetic aspects of the food through a practical exercise wine-based, because Professor Perullo is an expert of wine and especially of natural wines. And also in the gastronomic area, we have a sensory analysis with Professor Luisa Torri. You will meet Luisa in Milan for an introduction to the sensory analysis, but you will meet again Professor Torri in Pollenzo during the first study trip. And last but not least, a new module, Novel Food Entrepreneurship, with Professor Andrea Bazzecchi, focused on novel food. And the module includes the presence of external guests, small innovation companies. It's very, very interesting. And the program included three workshops developed with external partners, companies, institutions, and other realities. The workshops are for the students the opportunity to use tools and methodologies acquired previously for developing new product service ideas and solutions. Each workshop takes generally 2 weeks, and it starts with sharing a brief by company. Then you have a classroom work, a midterm review generally online, and a final presentation. Just to give you an idea, I show you the partners of the first and the second edition. During the first year, we worked with Pasta Garofalo, high quality pasta brand, with Lavazza, very, very famous coffee brand, and with Milano Food Policy, the office that defines the policies for the food development of the city of Milan. During the second year, we worked with Barilla, well-known pasta brand, again with Pasta Garofalo, because they were very satisfied with the results of the first edition, and with the Reggio Emilia municipality. As you can see, not only company, but also institution and other realities. Workshop topics are usually strategic topics for the companies, so it's not possible for us to share the results or the contents, but if you take a look on our Instagram channel, you can see some picture and to have an idea of the activities. We are working now to define the partners of the next edition. And the study trip, finally. The course includes 2 study trips. What is a study trip? It's a part of your educational program and combines on-site visits, educational activities, and testing. The aim is to give you a real experience of the food system. You have the opportunity of meeting producers, companies, and having special dinner. In my opinion, is the real way to feel and taste the gastronomic complex of a place. The cost of the study trips is included in your fee, and transports and accommodation is organized by the university. The first trip will be in March in Piedmont at University of Gastronomic Science, and it will be the longer one, 10 days. The other one will be in May in Emilia-Romagna. During the first trip, you will be based in Bra, a town near Pollenzo, and you will discover the area around the university, between Pollenzo, Bra, and Turin, but at the same time you will have the opportunity to attend some classes at the University of Gastronomic Science. And as you see in this picture, the campus atmosphere is really, really interesting and nice, and really, really different from Milan. In Pollenzo, you will meet foraging expert Professor Andrea Pieroni, and you will have with him a very interesting hands-on activities, and you will visit the food lab and the sensory lab, 2 very interesting space inside the university, where the food will be processed and analyzing. And during the second study trip, you will visit some place in Emilia-Romagna region. Every year we make some changes, of course, but I show you some pictures to have an idea. For example, you could visit Lambrusco wine production, a very typical local wine, or biodynamic farm as la Cooperativa Agricola La Collina, the famous Parmigiano Reggiano production, or have a full immersion in the aceto balsamic vinegar world with Andrea Bezzecchi and in Acetaia San Giacomo. And professional outcomes. At the end of the course, there are several professional opportunities for you. Here you see the primary, but I believe there are many other opportunities, including new ones that are emerging now. But to have an idea, RID food project manager, food service designer, food product designer, food brand manager, food innovation specialist, and also food startup or entrepreneur, because some students have want to develop an own business. I think it's more useful to share some data about our alumni. In this slide, you see the data related to our first and second edition. About the nationality, you see we have 1/3 of Italian students and 2/3 foreign students from all over the world. And you see that the educational background are very, very different, from business to food science and technology, but also sociology, marketing, and so on. These data are only about the first class. The first class was composed by 15 students. We have now 12 students employed, and very, very important, 9 after their internship switched the internship position to a job position in the same company. For us, it's a great result. And as the workplace, you see food company, food tech startup, food agency, university, one of them is freelance, and the job position are very different from design RID, but also junior account, art director, startup, food blogger. So very, very different. I think that food sector is very quickly changing. So I think in the future there will be other possibility, other opportunities for you. And on our website, you can find some videos about the first edition alumni. This slide is for the application. It's very clear, and on the website you can find all the information. Pay attention of the deadline for the Italian and the European citizens, but also for the foreign students. The deadline is before, at the end of October. We have 2 partial reduction, and the deadline is very, very close, 16th of July. You can find all the information on the website and the cost. If you want to have more information and more details, you can send an email, hello@POLI.design.net and selezioni@POLI.design.net. And that's it. I hope you will be a part of the Food Design Master the next year. If you scan the QR code, you can see the videos of our alumni. And the second one is for our Instagram channel, where you can find pictures and more details about the classes. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Professor Parini, for your presentation. So we have a couple of questions from the prospect students. The first one is, I understand information connected with companies could be confidential, but is it possible to know a bit more about the project developed with the canteen company of the first master edition? Just some info to have a general idea.
Canteen company, so Milano Food Policy of Milano Amministrazione. Yes, it was a new solution to present the menu to the students in the Milan canteen. The project is about the perspective of the students on food. That's it.
Too confidential. We have another question. Since previous students are from very different backgrounds, is it possible to know which are the selection criteria?
The selection criteria is, of course, to be focused on food, to be interesting in food sector, to have an idea of what is the food system, and I think it's the best criteria is to have an interview with us, because with the interview we can understand how you want to be part of the program. But as you see, the background are very, very different, so there is not only criteria.
Great, thank you. If there aren't any questions, we can conclude this presentation. Thank you again, Professor Farini, for this very insightful presentation, and thank you all for being with us. I would just like to remind you that after a short break, there will be our final presentation about our Master in Furniture Design. Thank you.